Dreamers, we'll get to that. Look, we'll get to you, but I'm thinking about this. She's gonna be president. They say, well, that's what they're gonna try. And her speech, she spoke at the last day of the DNC. I ended up watching it, and she's like a real person. Here's what I mean. These Democrats, these people we're watching and talking about, I'm looking at them and it's like ego, fake, they're lying, but they're real people. Are they a real person? Or are they just propped up by the system? I'll leave that to y'all. But Kamala Harris was born. I sound like her. What the hell am I talking about? She was talking about her life. That's how she started her speech off. And I'm listening to her, realizing that there's a lot of her. She really does relate to a lot of people. And she spoke about what happened in her home growing up and what motivates her today. What motivates her today? Watch Kamala once and now he's voting for her. It's over. She's real and you know how phony people, she's real and as real as this, because this is a bad example. She's as real as a liar. She's as real as a liar. Like a liar is still born and they become that way. And they had parents and they had influences and they got to where they are. And there's a lot of people that she represents, okay? Single parents, broken homes, the things that influence your beliefs and motivations. She talks about her family, and she's describing how she grew up, and she's talking about her dad and her mom, and how her mom was pretty protective. Okay, she was this scientist. She's like, she starts it off. She's like, my mom. I'm paraphrasing. This woman from India came to America as a scientist with the dream to end breast cancer. Anyways, then she moves on to she continues the speech, and it's like, let's just move on. We're going to move on from that. She didn't do that. High ambitions, right? That's nice, Mrs. Harris, whatever your name was. And she comes to America and meets her dad. They get married, and they have her and her family, her sisters and family and all that. Kamala describes her mother being protective, like, you got to chill. And her father, on the other hand, would tell her to run, Kamala. Don't, run as fast as you can. Do what you can. Always, be great. Fearless. Supporting her. And then they split up. She was 7. They split up. And mom mostly raised by mom. And she goes into all of that. She goes into a little bit of that. They moved into a working class neighborhood, and that you could be anything. Then she goes on about being anything, like lying to people. You could be anything. You could be anything. Imagine, that's one of the biggest lies ever. You could be, what do you be? What are you trying to be? What are you trying so hard to be? Be anything. You can't be anything. You don't even know what you are, who you are. But she was a 5-foot-tall brown woman, her mom, and how the world would treat her. She saw how the world would treat her. But she never complained about injustice. Instead, she would say to Kamala, don't complain about injustice, do something about it. But she said, do something about it, and that's why she became a lawyer. What a mess. That's why she became a lawyer, to do something about it. She had to do something about it, just like mom said. Which is another lie, just like the lie, like be anything. You could be anything. The lie that you could do something about it. That you have to do something about it, and do something about what? Injustice. Do something about injustice. An impossibility in a sense, other than keeping the law, but even that is misused. She becomes a lawyer, tries to save the world, right? And she talks about a pivotal moment. Her best friend Wanda was sad in high school. And she was like, why was she sad in high school? She didn't want to go home. She finds out her best friend Wanda was sexually abused by her stepfather. Right away, she had to bring her to her home. And it's the reason she became a prosecutor, she says. The reason is to protect, she says, to protect, because everyone has a right to safety, dignity, and justice. It's such a lie. It's just such a lie. Like the world can't even give that to you or can take it away. Only in your mind can that happen. Once you allow it, once you allow this really an idea to take away your dignity. Let's say even you were sexually abused. After that, after the act, it's really only your idea of it that's taken away your dignity. Even when the world is against you, seemingly. They're against the whites, anti-white racism, which I believe, by the way. Like, well, you know, in the sense of like they believe in racism, you can flip it on them. It's this very same spirit. They're so blind and evil. But the world's against you. They're conspiring against the whites. They got the Jewish media or something. They are taking away the dignity of the whites. How did you allow that? Yeah, I was talking about this Jewish writer. He was saying, "Oh, yeah, you're right, goys. You're right, Gentiles." He didn't. I'm paraphrasing. We are controlling everything, and we're gonna keep doing it. You can't stop us, and we've subverted your very. He goes deep. He tries to get in there. We've subverted your very like world and warped it. It's like, whoa. What are you, God? No, you're not. Like you could buy everything, but you can't. You can't be here. You can't be in here unless I let you. In our system of justice, a harm against any one of us is a harm against all of us, she says. And that's why no one should fight alone. We are all in this together, she says. Justice, it's all of us. It's such a like literal inversion, like it's an inversion of this, what Jesus was talking about, right? Wasn't he saying something about that? What you do to the least. Who said that, right? Jesus said that? Jesus was talking about you. He was talking about you. Wasn't he talking about like you? Not, oh my God, look at the injustice that's happening to that person and all this other stuff out there. And no, we're all in this together. Let's hold hands against that person or that thing. He was talking about, you know how what you do to others, you're really doing to yourself? You know how you get irritated at people who, when they say, well, you know how you get offended at people? The only time you really get offended is when someone gets you. You know, they're kind of right, even if they're evil about it or something. Or something they're not getting or putting out the wrong exactly. That's not exactly like that or whatever. Yeah, they got you a little bit. Come on. And then, or you get irritated with people that doing wrong. If you notice that, examine that. You usually are projecting what you don't like, what you think is wrong that you've either done before or are still doing in some way. Female, and it's beyond that. It's just such a. I'm calling it that. It's so feminine, it's so female, as a callback to what Jesse's been saying for 30 years, describing where hell comes from, what happened to men, and how to overcome that. Because it's not a blame thing. Oh, wait a minute, what the hell? No, this is this story for all of what's happening. This is what's going on Earth. Anyways, figure it out, bud. Appreciate the super chats. Let me do some of these super chats. I got a show for you. This was on my mind, but I actually do have a show for you. I have a show for you. Calls are coming in, 888-775-3773.